Good evening, everybody. This is 12 Gauge. How y'all doing tonight? Thursday, like the moniker says, Thursday, Thursday, Thursday. Let's talk about it. Welcome to my podcast. If this is your first time here, hope that you enjoy what we talk about, how it goes, and the difference between this and the streams is I'm a little more open to speculation, to being able to talk freely versus being more analytical and having to be more precise on what I say and what I talk about versus on here I'm trying to give myself an outlet where I can speak without having to be giving information on speculation and things of that nature. On the other channel, I do want to be precise and I want to be more precise with what I say. Um, if this is your first time here, thank you for joining me tonight. Hopefully the internet hold true. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Like I said, welcome, welcome, welcome. The first thing that I want to talk about is, woke up this morning and had a lot of people talking about, well, they don't have any cell phone service. They don't have any coverage. They don't have anything. And so I guess what I've read is mostly around 3 o'clock that something happened with the cell phone that enabled it to kind of be wiped out. Can you imagine if that lasted for more than a couple days? For a lot of people, they cannot go without their cell phone. Unfortunately, I pay. Let me try to bring down this brightness. See what that looks like. All right, let's go with that. A lot of people cannot really go without their cell phones. Me, on the one hand, I can go with my cell phone, leave it in the truck, leave it at the house, and not really be bothered by it. I do have a smartwatch, so I am notified of the calls that I get or the calls that I miss, the text messages, things of that nature. Um, but are you one of those people that was bothered by this? Were you inconvenienced with your cell phone not being able to make calls or receive text messages or things of that nature? I have Verizon, so I noticed that it was other carriers that had issues with this going on. So tell me about your experiences in the comments about whether you were affected, whether you had any kind of issues with your cell phone throughout the day, and not being able to make calls, not being able to check in with people, things of that nature. Up until like 1994 that I can remember, maybe it was 94, I don't know, 2004 maybe. I just woke up from a nap a little while ago, so yeah. 2004, I had a little Sprint phone. I don't know if y'all remember those, the Sprint, where you'd pop out the antenna and the phone you could actually, um, it was quite handy. It fit well around my hand. It wasn't too big, wasn't too bulky. And that's my first remembrance of a cell phone. But I also remember that thing wasn't good at keeping reception. Like I couldn't talk in the house um, very well due to some of the, I guess, some of the acoustics or whatever they call it of the home, where you have a lot of metal or you know whatever they want to call it. I don't really know. But all I know is I used to have to go outside. Oh, that's too bright. I used to go outside to have to make a phone call. And that would get old because then I would get the phone call dropped or I'd have to recall or this or that and the other. As far as texting, I was never really much of a texter back then. Because if you remember correctly, back then you used to have to hit the button more than once if you wanted another letter. So here you are texting, going through the letters, trying to spell out what it is that you wanted to say. And by the time that you finished the text, you could have just got on the phone and called that person. So I wasn't really much of a texter back then, but I'm sure that people were affected by that. I'm sure that people were unhappy about that. I don't want to start a conspiracy thread about, it was a cyber attack or anything like that because unless it's been talked about in the last 2.5 hours, I didn't hear all day about a cyber attack. I heard people talking about it as if they knew it was a cyber attack, but as far as being privileged to that information from the White House or somebody else who would be speaking on it, no clue. Before I go any further, I'd like to thank all the comments that I received on my last video. Thank you so much for the questions, the concerns. It made me laugh, some of your comments, because, like one of them, I was trying to say goodbye and I just could not sign off last night for some reason. And the individual said bye, bye, bye 4 times. And that kind of made me laugh. Thank you for the morning laughter. I wish right offhand I could think of your name. But I'm thankful for all the subscribers that I've received lately. You guys are awesome. I hope that you're seeing the community post. I hope that you're seeing, the shorts and things of that nature. Please keep the community post where you can read it, because one of these nights, I'm thinking maybe Saturday at 8 o'clock, I'm going to try to go live. And I'm kind of nervous about that because I don't know how the chat works with it. I don't know how to invite people up to talk with me. Things of that nature. I'm a busy man, so I really don't have a lot of time to research it. But if you guys want to tell your friend to join me that night, we can kind of learn together and just talk about things. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of news about the Idaho 4 going on, so that's one of the reasons that I haven't really been making a lot of streams. And sure, there's a lot more cases I could talk about, but like I said, I don't have a lot of time, and I will dig into the cases like on the weekends when I can talk about other cases. I do want to do the Eileen Wuornos case. If you don't know about that case, there's a movie on Prime called Monster. It's a good movie that replicates her life and some of the struggles that she had to make during her time before she became who she ended up being. But anyways, let's keep talking about other things rather than true crime, because that's not what this is about. That was just announcements for you guys. Thank you so much for all the love, I guess, all the likes. keep them coming. I enjoy them. You know, I did a class tonight. I do classes on Thursdays from 4:30 to 5:30. I did a class tonight on life skills with different age clients. There were 13 to 15. And one thing I noticed is the differences is the maturity level. You know, the maturity level just isn't there. The ability to concentrate for long term is not there. The understanding of certain things is not there. It's more about popularity and how you're looking in front of your peers rather than wanting to learn something different that could save your life one day. Um, but it went well. It went well. I give my all whenever I try to help people, you know, because like I said in my last night podcast, I really do enjoy humanity, even though at times I see the worst part of it. I'm sure we all do, you know. I'm sure we all see parts of humanity we wish that we weren't privileged to. You know, I want to talk about relationships and maybe some of those areas tonight because I'm not in a relationship, but trying to be in a relationship these days is not as easy as it once was that I remember. You know, before, if you like somebody, you told them about it, you met up to go on a date. Um, you liked each other, you had good conversation, you went to the movies or you went out to eat or you did certain things that gave you time to talk, to get to know each other. And I think that's one of the avenues that makes it so difficult these days is there's not a lot of communication. As I was talking about at the very beginning of the podcast is most people without their cell phones, without being able to text you, are not able to communicate. They can't communicate unless they're texting or they're Facebook messaging you or some kind of messenger app that they're using to get a message to you. And that is sad because you can only get so much emotional attachment with somebody by a text message. Most of the time, if you're me, somebody could answer you and ask a question and you're like, what the you know, I addressed it correctly. What part don't you really understand? And then it just becomes, you know, explaining yourself and explaining that question. And it's long term, it's drawn out. And before you know it, you just don't have the energy to continue that conversation, it being that way. I recently went out on a date. Not really a date, but it was kind of a reconnection with this person because we had dated in the past and we met up in a haunted area. There was a hotel. I had booked a room because she lived in a town far away from me and happened to live in this town with this haunted hotel. And the hotel was really lavish. It was like 1937 type hotel. There was a bar. There was areas where you could shoot pool. You could sit outside on the patio. You could sit out on the roof and overlook the town. You know, it wasn't just a hookup hotel. You know what I mean? I don't want y'all to get the wrong idea because the room was like, you know, the bedroom, and then it broke off into like a little mini dining room and then the living room. So it was 3 rooms, you know. It was pretty exquisite. we had a great time, it seemed like. We stayed in the hotel area, we played pool, we had some drinks, we talked and joked and had fun and took pictures out in the street because it was lit up pretty nice, and then we went and watched some TV, and by that time she was exhausted because she had work that day. Oh, we went to dinner before any of this. So as soon as we met up, we went to dinner, and dinner wiped her out, I guess. But we went to bed as much as I wanted to because I had been with this person before. I was thinking, do I make a move and try to close the deal, or do I respect her because I want her to know that I want her more than just a hookup? So I respected her, and went to sleep, woke up, took showers, went to breakfast, went to church together. I got her some Valentine's gifts because I wasn't going to see her on Valentine's Day. So um, I gave her her gifts and she gave me mine. And, we had to part ways because it's like a 2.5 hour drive to where I'm staying. So as much as I didn't want to leave, I had to go. Well, the next week, we talked on a Monday, we talked on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, things were getting kind of cold. Things were getting kind of very distant. We had plans to go to Austin, not the following week that I'm talking to you about, the week after because I was on call, but that next weekend, which was going to be a 3-day weekend this past weekend. And we talked up until that point. I'm messing up my days. We talked all that week because I was on call that week. And then that following week, we were going to go to Austin. Well, anyway, she completely ghosted and she won't answer my messages. I've tried to call her, nothing. So it was really a letdown because I really liked her. I thought, well, finally I'm going to build something with somebody and have a little, you know, investment and potentially it becoming long term. Well, it didn't. So here we are, almost 3 weeks removed, and still no hearing from this person. But this isn't the only example I have. I could take up all night long about situations where people just are not very forthcoming. They're not very honest, I guess, or maybe they just don't want to scare you away, or maybe they don't want to talk, or I don't know what it is. I don't want to make excuses because I used to make excuses for people, and all it did was make me angry. And in the end, the same result happened. If you've ever dealt with that, please leave me a comment. Let me know what your experience was, either past or present. You know, as I've talked to you guys about, having an addiction and everything, during my worst time in my life, I'm talking about narcissistic traits, self centered, all these things, drinking, drugging, running around, strip clubs, you name it. I was in all of it. No pun intended. you know, um, but during that time, I had some wonderful women. I'm talking about professional women. I'm talking about women that would have been wife material. But I've always been selfish to the point, and this is, if I have any regrets on life, I guess this would be it. I've always been so perfectionistic. I wanted it to be on my terms as far as by the time I'm 30, I want to have a degree, I want to have a good job, I want to have a house, I want to have a car. Then I can get married. Then we can have kids. And then we can do this. And we can do that. Well, 30 came and 30 went. Still wasn't stable. Still didn't have the good car. Still didn't have none of that. 35 came and went. Still none of that. 40 came, none of that. 42, things started turning. And here we are now where I'm stable, still not where financially I'd like to be because life is just so expensive. But it's a different time. And it seems like the women that I've tried to interject and date and care for and love, they just, for some reason, they just don't want that type of life anymore. You know, if I was out drinking, if I was out womanizing and everything else, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about relationships or unhealthy ones. I'm sure I would have convinced myself to settle because of the loneliness. Have you ever been there? Have you ever settled? Have you ever thought, I'm the only one going through this? And that's what this podcast is about, where it makes it different than the true crime stuff because I get to talk about different things. Have you ever have you ever had those thoughts? Have you ever had those thoughts where, man, what's wrong with me? How come that beautiful person is with that piece of whatever? It's like the more broken you are, the more appealing you are. The more negative you are, the more appealing you are. And I could be wrong. It could just be this area. It's definitely not an area where people take bathing as a priority. Wearing cologne is not a priority. Wearing deodorant is not a priority. But it's where I work. It's where my family's at. So therefore, that's where I'm at. Been running for a long time. Finally here, setting down some roots and trying to make the best of it because that's who I am. And I hope that's who you are. I hope that no matter what it is that you go through on a daily, even if it's anything mental health, anything with romantic issues or marriage issues or children issues or health issues or anything like that, that you keep the faith. I know there's days it's tough. I know there's days when you just want to give up. You gotta rely on your faith if you have any. You know, life is really funny because when you don't have any money, you talk about, well, when I get some money, I'm going to go here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. Well, my last job, it enabled me to make quite a bit of money. And it also enabled me to do what I wanted as far as that money was concerned. You want some days off? Go ahead and schedule them. We don't have PTO. We don't have insurance. We don't have this. You got to pay your own taxes, but we're giving you all this money. Like, okay, hell yeah, let's do this. Let's go. So I got to travel a lot. I got to take my niece and nephews to a lot of places. I got to experience a lot. No regrets. And hopefully I'm getting to that level where I'm not having to worry about it as much, thanks to a lot of beautiful people that have helped me along the way since I lost that avenue in my life. So if you're struggling out there, you know what? Just hang on because it changes. You know, and you're like, yeah, what do you know, bro? You don't know what you're talking about. I might not look like I do, but I've been there. I've been there. And hopefully in these podcasts you'll get to know me a little better. You know, you'll get to ask me questions and you'll get to you talk with me and see just the type of person I am. I'm not a violent person, you know, but I do believe the good guy finishes last. I still hold true to that old belief, even if it's been warped by corruption, dishonesty, and things of that nature. There's still a lot of good people in this world. Not everybody's a POS. You know, hopefully I'll have a co-host where we can bounce things off of each other, and if that's what you'd like to do, if you have your own channel or something, you'd like to bounce, be my co-host and get up here and we can talk, have our own little podcast. Let's talk about it. Like I said in some of my other stuff, I don't want to throw my things out there too early because I don't want to get the spam mail. I don't want people to be doxing me and trying to, look up all my stuff because they want to debunk me or they want to tell the world that I'm not who I say I am. Well, I can tell you this about me. I don't have any kind of criminal record. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to wear this seal on my chest. And my background check goes all the way up to the FBI. So it's not just local. So no criminal history. I don't smoke. I don't vape. I don't dip. I don't drink anymore. If I still have a vice, it would be women, you know, wanting a companion. That would be my vice. But I suffice that vice with working out, going to school, staying busy, doing these podcasts, doing the streams, watching comedy, because I love to laugh. I love to have fun. I know I'm very serious on here, but I love to laugh. And I love to laugh at myself. I really do. Because I was told one time, if you can't laugh, you can't cry either. So that makes a lot of sense. And if you don't get that, think about it until it does. You know, you got to take care of yourself. You can't put all your energy in things that aren't changing. If you're in a toxic relationship, I know that you put in a lot of years, you put in a lot of birthdays and anniversaries and all these things, and it's hard to walk away because it's an investment. And there's a promise of change there. But what happens if it never comes? You've wasted your whole life on one person. But worse yet, better yet, worse, better yet, it does change. Then you've won. You say, well, yeah, I was right. I'm glad I stuck it out. I'm glad I gave it time. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life. You just have to look at the patterns, look at the years of regression versus progression, and see if your heart really feels the same as it did when you first met this person, because that's what you gauge it on a lot of times. Well, I remember when this person was a great person and they did this and they did that. They used to take me to the movies. They used to, we used to go riding that night and this, that, and the other. But when was the last time you went to a movie? When was the last time you got a birthday gift? When was the last time you got an anniversary gift? When was the last time you went riding in the middle of the night? And I'm not trying to be shallow and saying that this matters, but these are some of the things that obviously were important in the beginning and they kind of dwindled. People always ask you, well, how do we get the fire back? Well, start doing what you used to do, even if you're tired, even if you both work, even if you don't want to. Layer it down. You don't have to be as extravagant. You got each other. Build that little fire until it's burning hot again. And hopefully it changes. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, what type of woman do you like? You tell me your type of person in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what type of person you're attracted to or you're with. What is your number one attraction to this person? I'll tell you that mine have changed over time. I'm not shallow like I once was. I like a person who likes to laugh. I like a person who is intellectual enough that they can take their life serious and they're driven. I like a person who likes to just enjoy life and not about the drama. Physical stuff, hopefully she works out. Hopefully she looked good in a pair of yoga pants. Hopefully she can speak effectively. Is an individual thinker. Someone who can be just as beautiful laying around on a Sunday as she can be dressed up from Monday to Friday. Someone who's nice to animals, nice to children, and nice to herself. Not a lot there, right? Honesty. Someone who's honest. Someone who's not scared to hurt my feelings. Tell me what yours are. And this isn't a dating site. I'm not trying to get dates. I just want to know, since we're talking about relationships, many people talk on relationships like they're torturous or things of that nature. Do you work out? Let me know in the comments. How often? What are your favorite workouts? Have you seen gains or drops in the areas where you're attempting to get them at? I recently started doing like crunches. I'm up to like 500. One day I did 1,500 just in there watching a movie. And I've never done crunches before because I've had back issues. As you know, I have stenosis, which is narrowing of the spine. Didn't know it. Not a freaking clue. In 2018, woke up, couldn't walk for 2 weeks. My leg was stiff. Didn't know what the hell it was. Freaked out. Went to the chiropractor. Went to get an MRI. Every emergency room I went into, they treated me like I was drug seeking. So I went to get the MRI and they finally said, oh, we got your results. I went to the chiropractor. He said, well, we know what it is. I was like, what is it? I was like, oh, shit, we're fixing out to have surgery, blah, 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 this shit. He said, no, you have stenosis, narrowing of the spine. And I said, okay, what Can you fix it? He said, yeah, but we have to do some things to make sure that you stay strong so that your spine doesn't have to really rely on itself. It can rely on the muscles and tissues and everything else. And I was like, cool, let's do it. So I don't know if that was the news that I needed, but I was off and running, y'all. And get this, all through school, I played contact football, vicious contact football back then. He said, any time you could have gotten hit in the wrong place, you would have been paralyzed. Family has asked me, friends have asked me, if you knew that then, would you have still played? What do you think? Hell yeah. There's nothing that would have kept me off that field. But we're good. There's an occasional flare up, but at this point I kind of know what to do in order to get it to kind of not be so tense. Do you guys have any back issues? Do you have any health issues that keep you from being the best version of you that you deal with on a daily? And how do you deal with that? Do you take vitamins? Do you do the holistic approach? Do you do yoga? Do you stretch? What do you do? Let me know. I'm kind of curious. See how y'all stay motivated to keep going amidst all the health problems you might have. You know, I really enjoy this. But like I said, I try to keep these to about 38, 39 minutes. I'll probably do another one tomorrow. I get off early, so it'll probably be a little earlier. My nephew's birthday tomorrow. He got his Amazon gift today, and he couldn't wait, so he already got his gift. He got a driver's wheel with a drive, like a brake pedal, a gas pedal, a shifter. And I guess he downloaded a bunch of Oculus games where you can use that stuff to be able to drive. I don't know. I'm about to go find out here in a minute. But once again, guys, thank you for all the love, all the care, all the well wishes. I wish you the best too. And you know, if you need nothing more than a prayer, just put your name in the comments. I got you. Because every prayer counts. Thank you so much for your ability to be here and make me feel special, because I never thought that I would have much more than 10 people following me. We're at 81 today. I'm like, wow, that is freaking awesome. And there's other people, other places that are talking about, well, we got 10,000, we got this, we got that. That's cool, man. Happy for you. It's not easy. It's not an easy gig. I was just wondering if my personality was too dry to entice people to want to listen, because, you know, as a therapist, you just get this voice, this this rhythm, this everything, you know, and people are like, okay, hurry up, get on with it. What do you got to say? What do you mean? What are you talking about? See how I can, I can make my voice go faster. And maybe I should do that, but I don't like rushing people through my podcast. I like for them to be listening, to be hearing. What do you think? Anyways, guys, I'm about to get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, last day of work, birthday party in the evening, then the weekend. Once again, tell your friend, tell yourself, remind yourself, if you want to go live with me Saturday at 8, and for some reason I don't go live, let's try it again on Sunday, okay? Because I don't know what this internet stuff's going to do in the next 3 days or so. So I don't want to tell you something and then not show up. watch my community tab and I will keep you updated. I hope you guys have a good night. And if you feel up to it, answer some of the questions that I asked you. I'd like to get to know you guys better. You don't have to get all up in your life. You can be very generic, but I'd like to hear about some of you, if not all of you, who are willing to share. We'll get back on the Idaho 4 and some other cases, but I need to take a break from that because I just need to talk right now, not really investigate because I'm going through um, the U.S. court systems in school, and I'm doing the criminal law stuff, which I have to write a lot of papers and a lot of reading and a lot of stuff, and that's the last thing I want to do whenever I get home or have some free time. But there's my third goodbye. This is my fourth one, so you guys have a wonderful night. God bless you all. Hope to see you again soon. Take care.